Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I want to give my pick for a podcast manager on Windows 10 machines, or really any variant of Windows that's relatively modern. So this is the Zune MP3/podcast manager. It's an app you can download online for free. Of course, it can do music, videos, pictures, and podcasts, but here what I'm primarily using it for in this video, of course, is podcasts. So you can add any number of podcasts to Zune by clicking the Add a Podcast button, and then you just put in the URL of the podcast feed. It can be an RSS feed. So pretty much any podcast that exists out there on the internet, you can subscribe to it very easily, and you shouldn't run into any issues there. I guess a little bit of a downside is you do have to find them manually. There's not really a built-in search for podcasts per se. And yeah, beyond that, so what we have here available for you is that when you do subscribe to a podcast, it'll go ahead, find the most recent podcasts in that list. By default, you can see that it automatically downloads 3 podcasts of each of your podcasts that you subscribe to, the latest 3 episodes. We can, of course, change that at the podcast level by clicking over here under Details, Series Settings. And you can change that to 0 if you want. You've also got a couple other options. Oldest episodes first, if you're going from like the start back to the current. Like if you have a podcast that's like on episode 2000, maybe you do want to watch from the start, or listen rather. So I'm going to keep that at OK. And if you want to manage the settings for all of the podcasts at once, you can just go up here to Settings, click on the Podcasts tab. And then you can do things like set the automatic podcast downloads for all episodes by default. So beyond that, if you have a mobile device, you can, of course, plug it in. You can see sync status between your mobile phone and your PC app. So basically, we just need to plug a device in, make sure it's set to be connected, and get them synchronized between your 2 devices. So that should be helpful as well. And of course, as you would expect from any kind of MP3 player type thing, you can play the podcasts back inside of the app. So a couple things beyond that I do really like. I think the interface is pretty slick. One of the reasons I believe a lot of people like to use iTunes is because it looks pretty good and it allows you to easily search for podcasts. But since I tend to just add podcasts in manually, I don't think it's an issue to not have that podcast search. I generally just go find the podcast myself and just add them in. Being 100% sure that you get the list that you actually want to subscribe to, because some podcasts will have multiple lists. And yeah, that works out pretty well. The automatic podcasts, of course, also pretty good. Of course, you can pretty much use any tool you want for it. You could use VLC Media Player if you wanted, but I think it's just a little more convenient to add them into Zune, play them back from within Zune. And it's good to have that in the background while I'm listening or while I'm working to listen to. So that's pretty much it for this video. Just my personal recommendation. Zune's pretty good. And I guess I will see you guys in my future video content.